Welcome back to Austin, Texas here for the Dreamhack All-Stars and North America Regional as we have just concluded our first map here between Panda Global and Team Naventic. And as you could see, or maybe you're just joining now, and if you are, Team Panda Global just decided to destroy Naventic. It was kinda cool, guys.
It was pretty neat.
It's something that both of you brought up during the break. Li Ming, we're starting to see her fall out. She's a very great hero, but first pick priority? Dread, why don't you talk about that?
I personally am really against it. I have been for some time. I voiced that very heavily in Leicester, that I didn't like the value on her. I do think that's a map where she gains more value than others. I just feel like there's a lot of other heroes that are kind of better than her in that position. So I was surprised to see that.
Yeah, speaking of Leicester, she and Kael'thas were the highest prioritized assassins. Her win rate by the end was 35%.
Yep.
Kael'thas was 75.
Yeah. Li Ming was bad.
You saw, like, after the tournament in the lobbies and everything, I'm sitting there with the players like, why Li Ming? And they're like, we're going to keep doing it. And I'm just like, guys, like, you know, like, I'm dropping numbers and I'm like, guys, can we stop what's happening here? But
well, of course, going on to map number 2 now, we can take a look at the map vetoes just to refresh your memory as to how that has gone down thus far. We see so far Sky Temple has gone over to Panda Global 1-0 in their favor. Next, we're going to be moving on to Infernal Shrines, one of the more common maps. And also, guys, I just want to say your pronunciation of Leicester is fantastic. Nobody in my office from America could actually say it. It was Leicester,
I
other
never
weird
said that
things.
one or any of the other mispronunciations.
You said them all the time.
I'm pretty sure you did actually. That's true.
I'll be honest, if I
Call
wasn't
us.
a lot.
if I wasn't at the event, I probably would have done it. Like,
We saved you.
Yeah, Red Eye taught me. So.
Oh, Red Eye.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. He's pretty good at that. He is quite old, so he's got a lot of experience. Okay, so we can actually move on to Infernal Shrines. Who wants to talk to me? Zoya, you're going to talk to me about Infernal Shrines.
Infernal Shrines, it is the most popular map in the map pool right now. All the players love it across all the regions. Shrines spawn in 3 different locations with 3 different types of punishers that come from them. You have to kill off the monsters here. Once you get to 40, the punisher will be pushing down a lane where you'll have to defend it. It's a very aggressive hero or a monster, but it's different in the sense that it prioritizes heroes over structures and minions. It will kill everything in its path, and it's got a lot of mercenary camps on this map. You see a lot of different strategies. It's the most flexible map when it comes to what composition you want to run on it.
Oh boy, I cannot wait for when Chromie is out so that we can use her on this map and follow up that Punisher. I am so excited. That is going to be fun, fun, fun. That's not for a little while though, of course. So we are going to have this map start in just a little bit. The interesting thing about this, I mean, going on to it, obviously it's a very common map. Is there any particular preference here? Obviously Team Naventic coming off of a little loss. There's a little bit of a shake there for them, but are they still quite confident on this map? Is this one of their better maps?
So it was their selected map, and it's one of the most common. So I would say comfortability exists on their side, but it kind of does for everybody. And this draft's already going to be done here.
Yes,
so.
just so you know, just to kind of keep you guys as informed as possible, the draft was done a little bit prematurely during the break. Won't be continuing on too much during the entirety of the broadcast. So we're going to take a shot of this entire draft and look at it on down the line. The Illidan and Kael'thas's were the first bans, of course, and then Brightwings and the Sonyas, I believe, were the first picks going down. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think so. This is a very...
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Sylvanas was definitely the first pick here.
And then Muradin on the other
that's
side.
What I was thinking
Sylvanas on maps like this one, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Battlefield of Eternity, anything that has a pushing objective that you can make your monster more powerful, Sylvanas is prioritized on. That's why she has the most involvement in China right now.
Of course, so no real speculating about what we're going to see in this draft because it's already done, but kind of looking at these rosters that we're going to see go up against one another. What are your impressions so far?
I think this draft kind of makes me nervous for Naventic. This is a draft they were doing 2 to 3 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Panda Global's draft, they got Tyrande Thrall, who they were playing in the last game and did really well.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is it possible to actually bring that draft back up just so we can have another look at it, as it did go quite quickly? Oh, the game is loading, apparently.
Well, we'll talk more about the comp when we get them.
This comp later, but Dread, real quick, I mean, I see you making faces over there. What are your thoughts on this draft?
Li Ming is too high valued on one of her worst maps. The wave clear does sit far in the, Shrine advantage goes way on the side of Naventic, but as long as kill potential happens for the side of Panda Global, if they get that Punisher, you're going to have a bad time facing Sylv, the Punisher, and the free follow-up that exists everywhere. I think a lot of it is Shrine Control is the name of this game, even though it is Infernal, specifically with these 2 comps.
Do we see the big upset here? Do Panda Global have the shot to take this 2-0 over the favorite of the tournament?
Yeah, what I was trying to say is not only is it an amazing composition with the Sylvanas, but it's a lot of comfort picks for them on top of that.
Yeah.
They like Sylvanas anyway.
Huge on Brightwing.
Huge on Brightwing. They have Tyrande and Thrall. They just made that work.
All right, well, I believe we are good to go into game number 2 here. So we will go to a short moment, but then when we're back, it's going to be Gilly and Dread taking on game number 2 on Infernal Shrines.
All right, we are ready for the game. Game number 2 between Panda Global and Team Naventic. And here we go. Panda Global up 1-0 over their opponents. And here we have Huge playing Brightwing, B-Kid playing ETC, Psalm once again on Tyrande, Jason playing Sylvanas, and finally Thrall will be played by Gladius. Meanwhile, Zuno will be playing Muradin, McIntyre on Sonya, Kenma on Karazim, Fan playing Li Ming, and Tassar will be played by...
Big impact.
What did I miss? Biggie. Wow.
Well, so we're in a situation actually where they're pulling McIntyre away and putting him onto the Sonya there. But it's still a comfort pick for him. Just the kind of the joke that we had heard before, where he goes into that, is it Tass? It's me, and it's just so a little bit of an adaptation here. So as I touched up on though, when it comes to compositions, I feel like the wave clear, you have the Sonya and Tass that are very, very terrifying. But B-Kid actually coming in from behind, trying to get a stun out here. There is a dwarf toss. Him will be able to have the Radiant dash. There it is. Nothing surprising. I think this early game is going to go exactly like we saw last game. It's going to be just dancing around, playing it safe, waiting for the moment to strike, and then trying to capitalize for PG.
Yeah, Panda Global will be trying to get the same thing they had before. Last time was the Muradin and the Tyrande. Now it's the ETC with the power slide into the Lunar Flare. And whether or not they're able to get that, but Jason is switching it up a little bit, this time getting Empower on Sentinel instead of going for the Ranger's mark instead. So wanting to have that, probably following up with Pierce too, which will enable that to refresh their cooldowns even faster.
One thing to keep in mind, the Shrine is going to be spawning on the bottom half of the map. We talked about the wave clear. Sonya is remaining in the upper half. No, she is making this rotation. So Brightwing will have the global advantage up there. Smart because Sonya is one of the best on the Shrines, but maybe we'll see Panda Global and Huge with that Brightwing. Oh, but Fan with a lot of damage. We'll be able to gain a lot of value because Sonya on the Shrine's a must-have when you're sitting at Naventic. Tassadar and Sonya, you always win on it.
Yes, for sure, but Huge has that advantage. Naventic's not sending anybody up, so they want to clear this as fast as they can because of the fact that Brightwing is up at the top and they're not sending anyone in. But here comes Huge, the Peekaboo, giving away the positions of the members of Naventic here, and 21-7, Naventic controlling the Shrine.
The combo coming in, the Polymorph is a follow-up, and that is going to be it. Zuna on the Muradin, no Dwarf Toss for you. They do have 23-10 though at this point. Death timers will be relatively short here, but a huge win already sitting for Panda Global. This Tyrande ETC style composition, the solo target blow-up is just working out so well. But 8 more needed for Naventic.
I love that Brightwing Huge went all the way back and then came back in with a little bit more mana because he can do that. But also just the fact that they have the ability now to start trying to turn this. Even if they don't, getting that kill as long as they don't lose anybody, that's a big win for them. It's a first Punisher. It's not going to be a big deal. That Lunar Flare and Tassadar just drops to the ground.
Yeah, and they do win the Shrine here, but one more actually. Huge is going to be falling out there on the Brightwing, not going to be able to escape. Punisher is going to be picked up for Naventic. So let's look at the situation, right? We saw 2 kills going out for Panda Global, and it seemed a little bit convincing. But guess what? They still lost the Punisher because, again, their lack of wave clear, even with the kills. Oh, man!
And it's 2 versus 2 kills just like that.
Yeah, and so it's a situation where they got the kills and it looked good, right? But realistically, you need to look at what did they really gain. They're actually still on the back foot. The kills are not all that matters, especially in the early game, and not being able to get that map objective is really going to hurt them. A stun coming out to Jason. He is going to get the E out, but it's not going to matter. Fan says, guess what? We got the skill shots. You're going to be going down.
All right, Panda Global just need to take a breath. They were winning it, and then they've lost a couple of people now, maybe starting to, maybe they thought they were going to get that Punisher, and they ended up not, and that kind of threw them for a loop. But it's still very much anyone's game. They are behind in experience because of losing those 2 people now. 7 will be reached by Naventic first, but it's they're completely fine. Just need to take a breath and stop getting caught out like that right now.
We saw Healing Ward was actually picked up by Karazim, which I find to be very strange considering the single target burst that's sitting on the side of Panda Global. Like, it does work on the Shrine, the AoE sustained, right? But it's like, really, is that your problem? Is your AoE sustaining around? You have Tassadar, you have Karazim, that's where you excel at. I feel like there were other options that are going into, like a shield to be able to deal with that single target burst, because that's the problem.
Maybe it's fear.
Maybe.
Maybe it's fear because they also got Leech and Plasma last time they picked Infernal Acuity. So they're all in on whatever they could do to support.
Understandably so, because it definitely hurt them in the last game there. So
Shattered Ground also for Sonya. See that a lot on Infernal Shrines because it helps with the splash damage and trying to clear those shrines faster.
Oh, but McIntyre is getting a little bit of collapse on, not realizing that Zuno was going to be in the shrub there to throw down the Thunderclap and delay them. But again, the 2 kills did go down, but a whole level lead at this point for the side of Naventic. So even though kill advantage is going to be for Panda Global, they are not winning the XP war, which is really what matters in this point in the game.
Right, especially because if you start to lose that too much, it feels like every time a shrine is spawning is right when your opponents are getting a talent advantage over you.
Yeah.
It just happens to time out that way. It can make it very easy for you to snowball this map into having all of the Punishers until you finally both get to the level 20 mark. The nice thing is, at least, it takes a little while for this objective to scale, but it still can be an issue. And we see that there, Panda Global are immediately on the shrine starting it off.
This is really risky. So Panda Global is getting as many free shots because Naventic wants to wait till 10, right? You see Tassadar making the late rotation. They want to get the 10. They know they're not going to be able to compete once their opponent's at 10. See Zuna's aggressive positioning. He understands the circumstances. But Panda Global actually, but the Lunar Flare coming on to Zuno. I'm surprised if they try and take this fight before 10. They need to if they're going to be looking to do it. I just figured they would actually back out and worry about the soak because there's no way you get the shrine before they hit 10. There's no way. So we essentially lost 2 lanes of XP here, but they are trying to force the fight pre-10. And V-Kid getting caught out, but Kenma
just barely getting away from that Sentinel, and that means they didn't get the kill they needed. Maybe we'll see Panda Global just rotate down to another lane and push. They still have Sylvanas. They can still take down a few towers and get to that heroic ability point, but not getting what they wanted in that fight, not getting enough to even try to contest to get the final few defenders at the shrine. They're not really getting a lot here.
One thing to be looking at here is really that's actually the 3rd major risk Kenma has taken in a position where they don't have to risk, right? You are going to win the race to 10. The last thing you want to do is be taking a fight, and we almost see Kenma going down. We saw that at Boss in the last game, right? Risking the positioning. We also see it on the front keep wall. It's a worst case scenario, and so I feel like maybe the pressure here kind of getting to him a little bit because he's taking risks that necessarily Naventic doesn't need to be making.
When you are the team that you know you're the team to be at an event, I'm sure that can put immense pressure on a player.
Yes, it can.
All right, well, level 10 is here for Naventic. Wrath of the Berserker, no leap. Sorry, friends. We'll have to wait for that later on. Avatar, still considering for Kenmana, it's going to be 7-sided strike. Wave of Force for Li Ming this time versus the Disintegrate, and Force Wall yet again for Tassadar.
No surprise, Wave of Force is actually very, very common and kind of picked up in a lot of regions, but against ETC specifically, right? The Mosh Pit comes in, it's going to be a free delay at that point, so not going to be too cut off by any of these talent choices, but Naventic is still establishing dominance on the map, now securing a level and a half lead, now pushing with this, not even having Tassadar with them, he is going to make the rotation, and they're threatening a key front wall already 7.5 minutes into the game.
Now, there are heroic abilities here for Panda Global if they can try to find somebody in time. There goes the power slide. Can he get the Mosh Pit? Looks like no. Naventic gets away unscathed. Heroic abilities for Panda Global, all very standard. Mosh Pit, Wailing Arrow, Blink Heal, Starfall, and Sundering.
Now, even though this doesn't look too pretty for the side of Panda Global, structurally they're losing XP, they're losing. One thing to keep in mind with their composition is the win condition is almost always there as long as they can remove some of these forts, largely because Sylvanas can, essentially you win a team fight where typically you're like, man, we gotta kill this keep, and you can't survive that in the core. She goes, guys, hold on, I got this. I'm gonna put the keep on pause really quick, and we're gonna be able to do that. So they are on the back foot, but they have a comp that can come back at any point. ETC Tyrande, kill anybody, and then Sylvanas to accent the structure, so.
Well, they are still a full level behind as Naventic at this current pace to get their 13 talents first. Naventic are taking advantage of what they can, playing safely until they know they have that 13, but still keeping up with the soak, as well as getting some mercenaries. If they have these bruisers pushing up top, those will be bruisers that go all the way to the keep wall. And if those don't get cleared up, then that means that Panda Global can lose stuff there, which might force them to be late to the next shrine phase.
I also am pretty surprised because it feels like the only win condition got to be going, but Kenma actually maybe getting caught out. Burns a 7-sided strike to dodge the Lunar Flare. He has a Radiant Dash, still going to be up. He will be fine. But speaking of Kenma, opting into 7-sided strike rather than Divine Palm when the single target damage is the name of the game for Panda Global for the 2nd game in a row.
Yeah, it's interesting, but maybe they are worried about their lack of damage since they were having trouble killing people in the last game.
That is true. That was a struggle for them, so maybe trying to make up for it there. That's definitely an opportunity kind of for them, but Jason's going to be clearing out this wave. 13, one for Naventic, and the Shrine going to be spawning on the bottom half of the map here. Naventic with a pretty big lead.
Yeah, they've got a good positioning for this too, since they've just grabbed the Cosmo in the bottom. Sylvanas still clearing up the top, and Naventic with 13. Again, we get to the same place we were before. What do Panda Global do? Do they try to fight into this and continue to soak until 13? Knowing they'll probably lose the Shrine anyway, but come in late and get some kills, or do they push elsewhere? Looks like Brightwing and Sylvanas going to the top. I like this from them. They're going to start to try to bring down some of the Naventic structures.
I agree with you. I'm actually surprised they haven't done this a little bit earlier and committing more resources rather than a Brightwing and a Sylvanas alone. Like, for instance, it's going to be very difficult to defend this. So essentially, 3 people are going to be standing and not gaining XP or sieging elsewhere. I feel like this is the second time this game, Panda Global, has maybe under or over committed resources to specific situations here. So Naventic still gaining a pretty large lead here.
It's cool they left Brightwing top to take out the well before coming in too, because that means less of a chance of reinitiation for Naventic, since Panda Global don't have that either. They've already lost all their structures in the top lane. And here comes the fight. The Punisher marching down to the bottom lane, and Naventic, with the damage output they have, already taking out the towers, so that makes it even tougher for Panda to try to safely defend this. They bait it over, but Naventic are right behind this looking for a pick.
Yeah, and Sonya, look at McIntyre smashing away with Wrath of the Berserker under that keep. It is going to be falling half health, but the Punisher now sitting at 10%. Starfall's already going to be burnt. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if they take a team fight for Naventic, largely because with Starfall down, that's a lot of their damage here. They are going to be able to get them away from the keep and out of safety here. The cleanse coming out.
Oh, but looks like they're all going to get back. Used up pretty low, and 7-sided strike takes out Beacon. The Sundering too late to try to actually save him, and Sylvanas will be the next takedown too, and that means Naventic can turn right around and finish off this team.
One thing to keep in mind is that we saw with the Punisher up that it felt like Panda Global wasn't willing to take that fight underneath the keep. This is actually something that you see in a lot of games where you aren't going to be willing to take the fight underneath the keep, but all of a sudden you're willing to take it away from it. Why? Yeah. It's actually objectively, like, it's something with the psych, like the psych of it, the fear of it, something, it's a different condition, and suddenly it becomes far more appealing. So Panda Global, if they're going to take the fight, the minute the Punisher goes down, take the fight there, that's territorially an advantage for you. But it just feels like, why risk your positioning of safety there when you know you're kind of on the back foot like they have been all game?
Is the concern that we need to fight now before our opponents get 16, because they were already pulling back.
Yeah.
They were already trying to pull them out of the keep. So if they didn't get the fight there, if they didn't try to catch someone, they would have found nobody.
Yeah.
And then they would just continue this state of being very behind.
So maybe more so the decision-making being just a couple seconds too late rather than necessarily the wrong one, right? So foresight is going to be huge, but speaking of foresight, Naventic has a 2-level lead and going to be seeing that level 20 quite a bit earlier.
Yeah, 16s are here. Mirror Ball for Li Ming. A lot more damage with magic missiles. Nerves is still helping, and the fight's starting to break out, but Panda Global, what can you do? Do you see all of those magic missiles?
Yeah.
Drops Jason so fast.
Yeah, his health pool going down very low, but now 7-sided strike was burnt. So ETC will have a larger chance of surviving this, but without 16, I don't think that Panda Global really is going to be able to take this fight. They're trying to catch somebody off guard with the rotation to the top lane. McIntyre kind of got out of guard here. Murden actually burning the torch on. He's out of position.
The Lunar Flare, the Hunter's Mark, everyone coming in, but Brightwing still in the bottom. She's got to start phase shifting in. She needs to come in for the heals, for the phase shield. Is Beacon in trouble and will be the takedown. Now we see the phase shift coming in for Brightwing to try to help the rest of the team get away, but Naventic, they know if they could get a few more people here, they've already got a keep down.
Oh, Li Ming hitting Pan, all of his combo there to try and take down Psalm. Hitting it as she gets away from the wall. The force wall coming out, 7-sided, not going to be clipping in there. Brightwing's going to get out of there. So yes, they do get 1 kill. Not the end of the world. Their opponents are now closer to 16, which is the most crucial point when it comes to the Shrine. So Naventic has enough of a gap here that they will be able to secure the Shrine, most likely to the mid fort, and threatening yet again another keep from wall.
Yeah, fortunately for Panda Global, it is in the mid where they have the most structures. But it's still a problem where they can't just bait over the wall and use the fort to try to take it down while their opponents are at the towers. Now, you and the rest of the desk and I have talked about Sylvanas and how powerful she can be, but it relies on your ability to win the objective.
Which, with your lack of wave clear,
having a problem
feels bad, man. So, I mean, it's just a rough situation. Again, I told you, I felt like it was a control of the wave clear when it came to the Shrine. And obviously, Naventic with Sonya, with Tassadar, having an immense advantage there. But they do secure this Punisher 16, almost up for Panda Global. And let's see how they're going to be able to take this fight. I think Naventic's going to get hungry.
Yeah, there's the Storm Bolt. 7-sided strike for Cladius. He gets out of the way of it, but still takes some damage. The Punisher now at the fort level, and the Panda Global are going to abandon this in favor of getting back behind the keep wall. But Fan, with this build, the way he is set up, he is able to just destroy all of the structures so quickly. Now there is the base, and Naventic are at least going to get the towers here, but the Punisher gets burned down pretty quickly by Panda Global.
And yes, it doesn't secure the keep, but really, realistically, if you're Naventic right now, you don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
All 3/4 of yours are up. You have a couple of mercs on the map you can capture, and you are winning the race to 20 by a large margin. Just get a little bit of soak in all the lanes, don't risk positioning, paint the map red, and when the next map objective comes, that's your time to punish your opponents. You're going to have a Punisher, and you're going to have 20 advantage. So Naventic now, the tables have turned from last game, where it's their game now to lose.
Well, 16 is here for Panda Global, and they are getting very aggressive, trying to steal these bruisers, saying, if somebody is here, we'll catch them. If not, we're stealing these away. We're not giving them any more advantage. A 7-sided strike is used by Kenma. More stuns, and Cladius is in trouble for all the first blood of this fight. They're running away now, using the Starfall to at least try to maybe get out, but Yuja's life will be forfeit. He's going to try to go as long as he can away, but a Radiant Dash from Kenma secures yet another kill. That's 3 down on Panda Global. Naventic knows 40 seconds until Brightwing's back up, and they have a keep down. Beacon will be the next to fall.
They have the opportunity to actually win the game here or get the keep. It depends on the rotations here. We'll see from them. There they go. They are posturing up. They're going to go for the game. If they didn't kill ETC, I don't know if they would actually be able to win here. Opting to go for the keep instead here, waiting for the minions to kind of meet up with them, or they're not going to go for the keep here. So the game, excuse me, they're going for the more patient route here, saying that Sylvanas maybe brings a little bit too much, disabling the catapults, but you know, Naventic playing the safe game. Again, I said it before, they don't have to risk anything.
Right. They are nearly 20.
Yeah.
So if the concern was we could throw here, even if they had, they would have put a lot of damage onto the core, and they still have all their keeps up, but just playing very, very, very patiently. A Shrine is ready. If they can get this Punisher, this will be level 20 for them, and a Punisher that goes straight to core. I'm
surprised they actually captured that camp. I feel like they could have stacked that with the map objective here, securing to be able to get more pressure on the core, because when you have a 20 advantage and the Punisher is sitting at 16, 17 minutes into the game, that is your win condition, right? So not staggering it there, I feel like maybe losing a little bit of pressure, but they have a lot in their favor now. Just get 20, get the Shrine, and you see Panda Global trying to make the fight before they had 20, trying to get a little bit hungry, but Naventic goes, guys, we don't have to worry about it, play safe.
Yeah, maybe the thought is they're going to have to respond to this at some point, and that's when we win the Shrine. We have all of our members up that way, we get a Punisher, phase shifting, no blink healing to the minions.
Another blink heal though.
There's blink healing back. The jukes are real from Yuj. Does he have a pixie dust trying to get away? The storm bolt hits him into a full magic missiles, but he blinks in the nick of time. 7-sided strike. Somehow Yuj stays alive. He gets behind the gate.
Meanwhile, the Shrine 30 going to be sitting in favor of Panda Global. 3 people committed just to kill a Brightwing, even though you have 20 tier advantage here. Naventic maybe decision making getting a little bit risky here. 5 more are going to be going down for the Punisher here. Naventic trying to make something happen. Panda Global is going to have all 5 on 5 here, but Psalm getting caught out.
Oh, Psalm is in trouble.
See you, nerd.
Goodbye. Good night, sweet Prince. Yuj will follow, and again, 2 down. Beacon trying to at least stop the pressure with this mosh pit, but no follow-up from them. They've already lost 2 people. Jason will be yet again, and this Punisher may go for a fort, but the core is going to get sieged down by Naventic.
They have the camp that was never responded to. They're already on the bottom half, keeping the pressure up. The core's already going to be at 95%. 3 people down. That's going to be a game number 2 is going to be going in favor of Naventic here, and what has come out to be a much better series than I feel like some of the people here had expected.
Right. I think they shook off the nerves. They've taken out Cladius, and now they're going to take this series to game number 3 between the 2 teams. And yeah, our first series of the day gets to go all the way to game 3. Dread, are you pumped?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think a lot of this is going to come down to draft. We saw in the first game where it was a little bit, I still feel like it was convincing actually for both teams to be pretty even. The last game I actually felt Naventic, just with the wave clear alone, they had enough to be able to deal with it. So will Panda Global be able to adjust, or are they going to keep sticking to this very straightforward Murd and Charonda? That's all they got.
Right. Yeah, it was ETC Charonda in the last game too, but the thought process is the same, whether they just want to do that. But they were playing a lot of Charonda before. If this is a one-trick pony, that's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, it will be. And to make it on to the next round, you definitely are going to have to make something happen. But Panda Global, dark horse or not, prove it here.
Yeah, we'll be going into game number 3 pretty soon. But guys, How about that game? Game number 2, Naventic brought it back.
Yeah, nice to see Naventic holding their own to start off a tournament, and don't want to be going down 2-0 obviously here. And Zoya, what were kind of the really attributing factors that allowed Naventic to push themselves on towards this victory, do you think?
I really dislike the Brightwing pick after watching that game. Global presence is nice, but having someone that can save a target from burst damage is important too.
Yeah.
And anytime someone was cut, that last fight, Tyrande, no one's going to save that besides Uther or Rhaegar. Even Rhaegar would have had trouble saving that. You had to have had Uther there. So the Brightwing was one of the worst parts of that game for them, in my opinion.
I mean, you already said, you know, that Panda Global does have the potential to actually kind of go even further down the line here. Going on to a map like Cursed Hollow, what do you think there are things that need to be changed up from this last map to the next one coming forwards?
Actually, over the time we've been casting this teams, back when they were Blaze to Panda Global, they've never been a team that I've noticed tilts. They'll have games where they just lose randomly. They're like weird throws, like, you know, all ending a core of double Zeratul, right? And then just they don't seem different the next game. Where, you know, if this was Naventic, you would expect a little bit of tilt, you know, after a loss like that. So I don't expect anything too, you know, phased on the end of Panda Global.
Well, I hear there's some great replays to see of that game. There's no replays to see of that game. That's okay
no
too.
replays.
But yeah, you said that. I think it comes down a lot to good leadership and time they've had this scene. Huge and Cladius have been competing since the last Dorm, not even this one. So they've had a lot of time, a lot of experience playing together, and they really are such good leaders in being able to keep their team from tilting and keeping the motivation going for them.
All right.
My biggest thing going into the next draft is that if they do stick with the Murden Tyrande, the Tyrande-Ini style pairing, it's accented more on Cursed Hollow than almost every other map. Not only because the dance around for a long period of time and the kill potential opportunities that arise, but also because there are a mass ability to delay, right? Sitting with the Pierce and things of the like. So I think the map is going to be going slightly in their favor, but again, it's not so good on the map that I'm like, okay, they're going to win now. I feel like they have to show some kind of diversity here because I feel like after that last game, Naventic kind of has their number.
Is the global something that we're looking for on Cursed Hollow as well? Is that something that's a factor here for Panda Global, depending?
I mean, I think we'll see it picked up. I don't think it's like huge when one team gets a global, but how well they abuse it. Like, for instance, we saw one last game, but if you can't get the wave clear elsewhere, then you're going to have a bad time.
We talked about this earlier, but each team has an Abathur player, and this has always been Abathur's strongest map, Cursed Hollow. So we had the potential of seeing that as well.
Yep. I would love to see an Abathur out of them somewhere, unless it gets banned.
At least it might actually just get banned too, because it is cursed.
Yeah, never know. All right, I'm not getting word from back just a moment, but I think we are going to a short break before we go on to our next game. And when we are back, it will be game number 3 here between Panda Global and Team Naventic.